Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Yo-ho too! Yo-ho too! Yo-ho too!
Everybody here dies by dawn. Dead by dawn!
Welcome to the Spook Show. Hello, welcome to another edition of the All-American Spook Show podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Donnie.
Yo.
Tiana.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
And today we are joined with a new friend of the podcast, one that shares a very similar name to ours in the title of his podcast, and that is Phil from the Spook House Podcast. So thanks for joining us, Phil.
Yeah, glad to be here. Yeah, I guess it is kind of similar, huh? I promise. Yeah. I didn't steal it from you guys. I started in 2019. I think that's a little bit after you guys.
Yeah.
But
yeah. See, that's why we brought you here, to drag you out on the carpet.
Call me out.
Yeah, and get you to admit it. You son of a bitch. So that's how long you guys have been doing it. So 2019.
Yeah, 2019. And I named it that just because I'm a huge Halloween fan.
Same as us.
Right away, that's what popped into my head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, the Spook House.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of named ours the All-American Spook Show. Yeah, we probably do half and half, American versus other countries movies.
Yeah. We don't keep it just American.
The All-American Spook Show. Yeah. It's not all American. It's some American Spook Show. But
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even really know what the origins of, like, why exactly we call it that. It just kind of like, well, that sounds kind of cool and different. Let's go with it. Yeah. Then it just
it's a good name.
Yeah, well, appreciate it. So tell us about your show. What do you guys normally do? I mean, I know you normally have another host, right?
Yeah, so my co-host Doug, he's in Long Island, New York, and he's been my co-host for like 2 years now. But yeah, we don't claim to break the mold. We're just friends talking about movies, having fun, and also doing more stuff on YouTube now, like shorter videos along with the long form episodes, like lists and countdowns and stuff like that. So yeah, just trying to keep things fresh and moving and having fun.
Now we have, like, our new episodes of the podcast come out every Monday. Do y'all have a regular schedule, like place and time, or just whenever you get one done? Whenever
we can do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys know, like, work schedules and shit,
yeah,
and all that. It's I don't know how you guys do it. 4 people. That's a nightmare.
Technically,
it kind of helps us. We have like 6 people total, maybe now.
Well, technically,
so
five, yeah. Because there's another guy, Will, who when we first started doing this, it was myself and the Professor and Will. He kind of, like, work schedules, life, and everything. He kind of had to take a step back, and then we brought in Donnie, and then eventually last year we brought in Tiana. So, like, we've been able to add to kind of help us always have some rotation of people. Yeah. It's kind of the thinking, but that has actually kind of helped, having more people, honestly. So, because can't
always be here at the same time, but somebody else can.
There's always one or 3. Yeah, there's always a couple of us that can be here.
If not 3, 4.
Yeah, exactly. So we figure if you have 5 or 6 people, then you can at least get 2. Then you got a show, right? So that's kind of
that's a good idea. Yeah.
So that's what we've done. So, like, and then eventually it became, where we're doing videos and stuff like that, like you guys. So cool. So is there a website or anything like that, or you just direct people to search for you guys on podcast platforms, YouTube?
We're on Instagram, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. But yeah, my main focus is trying to grow the YouTube channel. So yeah, if you guys want to sub to the channel over there, it's just the Spook House Podcast.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this or watching this or however you're consuming this one, we encourage you to go check that out. Now, the reason we brought you here, though, is we wanted to celebrate Thanksgiving. And, at Thanksgiving time, you bring in your friends, you find new friends, you bring them in, you all gather around the table, you get the turkey and the dressing and everything, and you watch a horror flick. I guess
as is tradition.
Some people do. So this year we're celebrating Thanksgiving, which is this Thursday, with Tiana's pick. Tiana got to pick this one. So Tiana, what are you bringing to the dinner table? What kind of horrible piece did you plop down in the middle next to the turkey and the cranberries?
The invasion film called Kristy from 2014.
So this is definitely not cranberry sauce, right? This is a different type of
Yeah.
Yeah,
movie.
that allusion to our probably the first one that we ever did as a Thanksgiving movie, right?
I believe
Pretty
so.
sure that was the first one.
Yeah, that was a while back.
That
God, now you got me blanking what the damn name of the movie is.
Home
Blood
Sweet
Rage?
Home,
No,
wasn't
you
it?
know what?
Blood Rage?
Blood Rage, yeah. Because
was it?
no, Home Sweet Home, I believe might have been the first one. And God,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
God
I forgot
almighty
about that. Yeah,
damn.
that's right. I picked that. I picked Home Sweet Home.
that's a Thanksgiving turkey for sure. You know, and like that, and that's the other thing too. Like we've talked about this in years past with Thanksgiving horror movies. There's not a lot of them. There's certainly not a lot of good ones. Ironically, probably one of the better ones is Thanksgiving that came out just a couple year or two ago, right? And
I think it was last year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
And we haven't watched that one yet. Yeah. But
Oh, seen it, right? We haven't done it on the show.
Well, that's
some of
what I
us might
mean.
not.
Like, we haven't talked about it
Yeah.
here, but yeah, we need to get to that. But like, we kind of keep these, you know, as best we can because there's not many of them, you know. So, and I think this is another one of those where it's like it's not necessarily a Thanksgiving movie, but it takes place during the Thanksgiving holiday, so close enough, right?
Yeah. It's like Son-in-Law. Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
Good Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. In quotes, Thanksgiving movie. So yeah, this is another one of those. I guess before we dive in, though, I want to remind everybody to go check out aaspookshow.com. We call that the center of the Spook Show universe, and that's where you can find a lot of the stuff we just talked about with Phil there. You can go listen to all of our past archives of the podcast. You can go to our YouTube channel from there, where every month we have Video Vortex, Hammer Horror and Order, Grindhouse Gutter series, so we encourage you to go check those out. You can also go to our TeePublic shop, get some merch, shirts, whatever you want to get from there, and you can also get to our Patreon. patreon.com/AASpookShow. And we're just this month we're introducing some new stuff. We're kind of changing it up. For now we used to do Crafterpiece Theater, which Phil, you should check those out. That's truly like we watch the shittiest movies you can possibly think of, and we talk about
Nice.
it. The way we used to do it, like I said, we put it on the shelf. Is we would nominate 4 or 5 of the shittiest movies we could think of, put it out on a social poll. People would vote for it, and then we would have to watch it. The gimmick was whoever won that poll didn't have to watch it. So the motivation was always like, let's put the shittiest movies. I don't care. I don't have to watch it, right? You know, to the next person. So,
Yeah.
but I think we and other people finally started getting tired of that. So for now, we're putting it on the shelf where Crafterpiece belongs. But we're going to be introducing some new stuff over on Patreon. So we encourage you to become a patron today and check out all the archive stuff there, plus all the new stuff that we got coming this month. So without any further build up, we'll go ahead and toss to the trailer for Kristy.
I'm crazy about you.
I want you to stay with me. This one time.
You know my family. I have to go.
You can't stay there by yourself.
Mom, the flights are too expensive. I'll be fine till Christmas. It's weird, I've never seen it so dead here before.
Overnight, police in Oregon announced they found the 21-year-old's body on...
There's people out there. And they followed me here.
I'm going out there.
There are people trying to kill me. I need help.
We're already here, Kristy.
All right, so that's the trailer for that. So, Tiana, you brought it to the table to the Thanksgiving spread here. So, I assume you have seen this movie before, right?
Yeah, I only saw it once before. I'm pretty sure back when it came out in 2014. I think it went under a different name, too.
I have a couple of different names that maybe that you might have seen it as. The only other two that I could...
It was called Satanic at one point.
Yeah,
right?
I found Satanic. Because apparently, I think it was, from what I could tell, it sounded like it was originally called Kristy. Then they changed it to Satanic. And then later on, they changed it to Random. Donnie, I thought you would like that. It was just called Random. And then I guess at some point, they're like, Kristy was good enough. Let's go back to that. Whatever.
Out of those three names, it's like none of those are really good.
No.
I feel like this movie is kind of held back a little bit by the title. Also, like the distribution of the movie seemed like a nightmare. It was like debuted on the Lifetime channel, then got shelved, then dumped on Netflix, and it went through 3 shitty names. It's like
none of
which I don't get it.
No name helped the last name. Like it didn't get better. You know, they just went back to the first one. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure none of those things helped. I did like though that I'm pretty sure this is the first time on the Spook Show that we're talking about something that debuted on Lifetime. I don't remember.
That's true. Yeah.
Another Lifetime title.
Yeah.
Although
it's not make it a habit, I guess.
I don't know how you guys watched this, but this seemed like it might have been a little bit heavy for Lifetime. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Lifetime stuff, but
yeah,
I watched it on YouTube. It was the broadcast edit.
Now, was there
on YouTube?
Okay, on that cut, how much gore was there? I mean, not to say that the one that I watched was
that's
a bunch.
the one we watched, probably.
Yeah,
that's the one we watched, but I didn't think there was any.
Yeah, I mean, basically devoid.
Yeah, there was a little bit of blood in one scene in the pool, but other than that, I didn't really see much blood. Yeah,
and I'm not saying the one that I watched had any more or less, but there were a couple of scenes that seemed like, man, that would have been pretty heavy for Lifetime. So not that I want to watch this again to find out, to compare the cuts, but it would be interesting to see if that was any, because I watched it on Amazon Prime.
It was Stars because
okay.
I had to do the free trial to watch it.
There you go.
And
there you go.
Immediately canceled it. Smart.
There you go.
That's how you do it.
Otherwise, you'll forget and get charged.
Yeah.
So Stars, make sure you cancel that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because this is certainly not one I'm going to pay for the subscription to keep watching.
So I'm getting the feeling you didn't like the movie, Josh.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I think there's enough to talk about here, but I don't know if it's something I would, I'll say this. It's not something I would want to watch over and over again. Let's get into some of the background here. It premiered, the two early title changes I talked about, Satanic and Random, but it premiered October 15th of 2014 at the BFI London Film Festival. And then it actually had some random international theatrical releases, but it never released theatrically here in the United States, but debuted on Lifetime October 17th of 2015, so a full year later after that London Film Festival. And then it actually got moved to Netflix or debuted on Netflix streaming November 5th of 2015. So obviously it's no longer there as of the recording of this. It was produced by David Kirshner Productions, La Cienega Productions, and Electric City Entertainment, and distributed by the Weinstein Company. Ugh.
Yeah, when that logo popped up, I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, anytime you watch something that's got something to do with that, you're like, "Ugh."
Lifetime is really regretting that.
Yeah, that connection. It is not rated because I guess just it never had to go through MPAA here in the U.S., so it doesn't have a rating. But it is a total runtime of 1 hour 26 minutes. On IMDb, it's listed as a horror/thriller. Best I can tell, it was filmed around the New Orleans, Louisiana area there at Tulane University. But there is randomly a brief aerial shot that you see toward the beginning. That's in Vienna, Austria. So I guess they don't want to do an aerial of Tulane, so they went all the way to Vienna. Or maybe they got it from some stock company or something. I don't know. But it was filmed from November 26th of 2012 to January of 2013. So month and a half there into early 2013. For a budget of $6.9 million. That seemed really high when I saw that. I was like, good Lord. I don't see $6.9 million on the screen here, but whatever. It went on to a worldwide gross of just $616,000. And that was all on its foreign take because, like I said, it didn't get released theatrically here in the U.S. So I would imagine they made most of their money on Lifetime and Netflix, right? It's directed by Ollie Blackburn as Oliver Blackburn. Didn't really look up anything on him, but was there anything that stuck out from Ollie Blackburn that anybody saw?
I think he only made one movie after this, and it was non-horror. Never heard of it. But yeah, he hasn't done a whole lot.
Well, I see here he's the director of Donkey Punch. So
yeah,
so there's that.
Whatever the hell that is.
Yeah,
we all know what Donkey Punch is.
No, we don't. No, we do not.
Yeah, he's got it on big box. He's got it on big box VHS over there.
Big box.
Yeah. Shit. If there was ever a release of Donkey Punch on VHS, the professor owns it.
Well, let me I'll come back and see.
Yeah.
We do have it.
What?
We do own Donkey Kong.
Oh, we do.
Oh,
we
there
do
you go. You don't have it on VHS though, surely.
No, it came out in 08. Last VHS was sold in 06.
The writing credits are Anthony Jaswinski. It stars Haley Bennett as Justine, Ashley Greene as Violet, Lucas Till as Aaron, a number of others. I love that the three other people that are chasing her around are just credited as Blue Hoodie, Black Hoodie, and Gray Hoodie.
Yeah.
Even though you do see the face of one of the guys, right? I believe that was Chris Coy that you see when she takes him out and pulls the mask up.
Yeah.
There was there's a couple of, hey, I remember that guy from this kind of thing, but not a lot, right? There's very vague type of stuff, and it definitely feels of the time period overall, right? Like it just feels like honestly, it feels like more like an early 2000s movie to me than it does even a 2014 movie to me.
Yes.
It's hard for me to judge these. Like I was telling Tiana, I didn't even know what year this came out. I could have told you, this came out like last year or something? Because it kind of looks the same to me from 2010 to now. The styles of whatever.
Really, the giveaway for me is like the older phones and stuff that they have. Like it's not really.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're not
flip phones.
Yeah, it's not iPhones and even like a damn BlackBerry or something like that. It's like flip phones that they're filming everything on and sending it to the dark web.
I also didn't realize that it was a Lifetime movie at first because I hadn't dug that deep into it. So I'm like, this movie is surprisingly bloodless for a horror movie that's unrated. Lifetime.
Well,
okay.
yeah. Well, to be fair though, it wasn't necessarily, I don't think, a Lifetime movie. I think they're eventually kind of the ones that took it up and wanted to show it.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute! Someone will pay us to show this. Oh, thank you, Lifetime. I mean, no, that's what we intended all the time. Anything else anyone wanted to point out before we get into it?
The girl with the lip rings, she was in all the Twilight movies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tiana, I'm sure you must have recognized that because I've got no reference point.
I noticed the guy, Scott. Who the heck was Scott anyway? He was living on the campus with a dog.
Oh yeah, he definitely looked. That was James Ranson was the actor. He definitely looked familiar.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was in It. He played the older or It Chapter 2. He played the older Eddie.
Yeah, he's old. Yep, and then
he was also the cop in Sinister, and he played a pretty big role in Sinister too. He was the main person.
And I think this is something I've probably mentioned before, believe it or not. Sinister, like Insidious, are movies that I have never seen. Like, just...
You've never seen Sinister?
No. I've just never put it on the list. Or if it was, it just got buried. So never got back around to it.
I think those movies are overrated. Especially Insidious. People talk about that like it's the greatest fucking thing of the last 20 years. I'm like, it's okay.
You do know
that I
that
think's overrated. I've never gotten around to watch is Paranormal Activity. I know I'm going to have to end up seeing it on the show. We keep saying now they keep telling me don't watch it because we'll do it on the show. So.
Don't.
And I'm like, I don't want to argue that fact because I'm not really in any hurry to watch it.
Not to get on a Insidious rant, but Insidious does have a Broadway opening. They're actually,
What?
Yeah, so Insidious is going to be on Broadway.
What do you mean?
It's in Charleston.
Well, Donnie said he wants to go to it, so you can get tickets.
Yeah, you will not see me there. But yeah,
What?
but yeah, it's in Charlotte. I don't know. I don't know if it's in Raleigh, Phil. Sorry.
So you said so you're saying, just let me get this straight. They've made a musical out of Insidious. Is that what you're saying?
I think.
No,
maybe.
what? I don't know. I don't know. It's like something different, I guess. that they're trying. I don't know if it's exactly a musical.
Oh, it's
or
different.
not.
It's different.
It is
right.
an Insidious immersive experience.
Yeah, I don't think it's a musical.
I don't know if it's a musical either, but yeah, anything to not talk about Kristy, I guess.
That's been your theatrical moment here on the All American Spook Show podcast. Nah, fuck that. Well, I mean, look, as long as they don't break out into music, all right, I'm cool. Just last week we talked about The Nightmare Before Christmas, so you know Phil, how do you land on musicals?
Unless it's Nightmare Before Christmas, Team America, or there might be one more. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Once people start singing, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah,
that's me.
can't.
That's me.
That's what I was
Phil might have
wondering.
seen this. Other people on the show haven't seen it yet, but you mentioned Team America. Have you seen Cannibal the Musical?
I haven't. No, and I just saw that they put out a 4K of that, but
Oh,
no.
they did?
Yeah, Vinegar Syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love. I actually, you know what? If that Insidious thing is a musical, we're gonna have a group. We're gonna all go see it. I just want to see how that breaks out in the song.
Yeah, I would go out of morbid curiosity just to see.
Yeah.
Just to see the Darth Maul demon singing or something.
Yeah, they've got 2 shows in April.
No, well, I'm already
Next
out.
year.
Yeah.
I've already changed my
That's-
mind. No,
No.
Yeah, I'm out.
yeah.
I'm out.
I just had the idea and lost the idea. Fuck that.
I
Alright.
just got to experience real life Insidious last month
Oh, the house.
at the house at Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, how was that?
That was the scariest house I've ever walked through. So,
Now they don't do those they always change those things up every year, right? Like I've never been to
yeah,
that, but yeah, it's not the same
Yeah.
shit every year, right?
it's 10 different houses every year.
They usually have, of course, the Universal movie themed houses, but then they'll have a couple that are non-movie themed. And sometimes those end up being some of the better ones, the original houses they create. But
I
Then they're
went last
built up.
year in California to my first Universal Horror Nights. I went out to the Halloween 45-year convention,
oh, nice.
and I did that while I was there. It was cool.
Yeah, I've never been to Universal or done any of those like HHN things. So I'd love to do that one of these days. But money and time, we need more of it.
Yeah.
Money and time.
Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. We promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go.
For you, the listeners of the All American Spook Show podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. So I hopped on over to audible.com and this time I typed in Thanksgiving horror to see what would pop up. And believe it or not, I found some results. We've got Holiday Horrors Volume 1, Stories 1 through 3 in the Holiday Horror series by Lenny Grace. That was just over an hour and a half long. Then, Donnie, this is for you. We've got The Terrible Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Once again by Lenny Grace. So apparently Lenny Grace has a hang-up on Thanksgiving horror. That one, maybe it's just an excerpt from that because this is only 21 minutes long. So it must be like the short story from that collection or whatever. Then we've got, what the hell is this? Pre-Thanksgiving Stress Disorder by Roland Bursey Jr. That one's almost an hour and a half long. I don't know. That one looks weird. I don't know what the hell that is, but you know, we're not quite to Thanksgiving yet. So if you're stressing out over your turkey and your stuffing and your pies and all that shit, maybe that's the listen for you. So if that floats your boat, go on over to audibletrial.com/spookshow. Again, that's audibletrial.com/spookshow for your free audio book. So now what we do is we hop on over to imdb.com and we click on plot summaries to see what explanation IMDb can give us. Donnie, Phil, this is Donnie's favorite part of the show when we can find like a really long synopsis to read to really explain the movie to him.
I hate it.
This is what really
Donnie doesn't like reading. He doesn't even like other people reading to him anything that's too long.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
which made it rough for him in grade school.
Yeah.
He kept telling the teachers to shut the fuck up. You didn't like being read to. It was rough. All right, I've got a short one and a long one here. We'll read them both. The one sentence usual one that IMDb gives is, when a college girl who is alone on campus over the Thanksgiving break is targeted by a group of outcasts, she must conquer her deepest fears to outwit them and fight back. And then the longer one is submitted by our old pal Claudio Carvola from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
That guy must make money. Somebody must pay him for all the reviews that we've read that he's done for IMDb. Almost every movie, it seems.
Yeah, there's something from him or that other guy, Nick Reganis. It's the same two dudes that write everything on IMDb. College girl Justine works hard to support herself at Bryce College, where she studies. During Thanksgiving, her boyfriend Aaron goes home and Justine has plans to stay on campus with her roommate Nicole. Out of the blue, Nicole's father invites her to Aspen, while Justine remains in the dorm. One night, Justine drives to a convenience store to buy supplies and meets Violet, who threatens her. Shaken, Justine returns to campus, where she soon finds herself being hunted down by Violet and 3 hoodlums from a cult. Justine has to fight to survive. I think that pretty well sums it up there, right? Good night, everybody. Thanks, Phil, for showing up. That's pretty much exactly what's going down. And there's your Thanksgiving connection, right? To what's going on here is that, like, this is Thanksgiving weekend. So really, in my mind, in this movie, it's more of a plot device to get everybody the fuck out of Dodge, right? Like, yeah. Thanksgiving really has nothing to do with it other than, like, it needs to be an empty skull.
Which, that wouldn't necessarily be the case if we're, not everybody but one person was going to be able to probably, go home for. I'm sure there would have been a few other people there on campus with her. But at any rate, it makes for some cool shots of, it gets the plot going and some cool shots of the empty school or whatever.
It is the weirdest big little school, though. It feels like only 50 people go here, but it's a massive campus. Did you notice right at the very beginning where they're showing like this hunt where they chase this girl down and there's a dead body laying in like the grass, like the high grass. When they zoom in on her, she's breathing. Like
I read that. I didn't notice it though.
No, yeah, I saw it like full on. Like I never saw anybody note it, but yeah, like I'm like, oh, I guess she's not dead. Nah, she's dead, but she's clearly breathing like heavily in the stomach. You can see it. So kind of one of those easy to catch flubs, I guess. Now, what exactly? This is they kind of define it, but they don't really. What exactly is a Kristy? Is it a female Christian? Because I didn't really get it like she's a Christian, or they just find somebody that they kind of identify as that and then they just run with it.
I don't know.
And the other stuff played into it was like they had to be, I wouldn't say that she's wealthy or maybe her parents are, but I mean that she's well off.
Privileged.
So it's kind of this like, what do you call it? The haves versus the have-nots in a way, sort of, a little bit. I mean, because the whole gas station thing, when she's in there, and then the Victoria, what's her name, with the hooded girl,
Violet,
the girl with the hoodie, Violet, where she's trying to buy some sunglasses and trying to get a discount and do this, that, whatever, and then she offers like, I'll buy them for you or whatever, and then she takes offense to that, and then they go. So this kind of like that going right, the have and have-nots kind of thing, a little bit of some. I mean. Somewhat plays into it. I don't know why, but then there's the group of them later on where you find out that there's a ring, right? More than just the two that were in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the videos, the dark web type stuff.
I only ask because like it's kind of like they set it up at the beginning as like there's this weird dark web cult kind of thing where they hunt girls, right? And it looks like they're specifically going after because it's something like Get Kristy, Find God or something. So it's like they're specifically targeting female Christians in a way, like is the way, but like it never felt that way the rest of the movie. It was like they set up this idea and then it's just some privileged girl.
Yeah. And the only other time was when they were on the roof and they said, she asked, why are you doing this or whatever? And they said, pretty girl, pretty hair, pretty car, something, whatever it was, something like that, which again made me think of that whole, I mean, they didn't mention the Christian aspect at that point either. But they're obviously a cult because there were some, they're the symbolism. You see like an inverted pentagram here or there on the tech side of the dark web thing and all that. So these like tenebrous connections that are just out there. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. It seemed like they didn't want to commit to a reason necessarily, other than nihilism. I guess maybe.
It really, in a lot of ways, reminds me of other movies that I can't quite put my finger on.
I would say The Strangers. Maybe just kind of very similarities in there.
Yeah.
Not necessarily saying they're copying per se, but it just feels like a movie I've seen before. A lot.
Yeah.
And then there was these hoodies. There was these movies that came out that were called hooded horror. That were mainly British.
I think so. Yeah.
Because Eden Lake. And,
yeah.
Then
Them
there was a lot of that, so I feel like it was taken from that too.
or Ills, right? I think it's French. Them, ILS, Ills.
Yeah.
Who knew that there was a whole subgenre called hooded horror?
Hooded horror.
Not very many of them, but there is.
No, but yeah, now that you say that, there are like movies where like the main person chasing the other person around is like wearing a hood.
Yeah.
A hoodie, whatever. I guess they got swept up in hood fever. Them and 3 other people, because I had never heard of them before.
Yeah.
Justine, the main character, she's all alone on Thanksgiving, even though she had 1,000 options to get the fuck out of there. Like, she could have went with her friend. She could have went with her boyfriend. Like, regardless, like, so maybe I'm assuming there was something there they're trying to say, like she didn't feel like she should be allowed. I don't know what the fuck, right? Like, I don't feel like I should be allowed to leave. I should torture myself and be here alone for no reason.
I feel like she wanted to be alone.
I guess maybe it's as simple as that. She just didn't want to.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do anything, but she had 1,000 options, so obviously you know how this is going to end. Movie plots get in the way. But you do get a few moments of pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to say top shelf gore or anything like that, but a little bit more than I thought you'd get from a Lifetime type of movie, like we mentioned earlier, where like the guard Wayne is beaten to death with the bat, like right in front of her, like where she can't get out or he can't get back in, whatever the hell. He's beaten to death.
Now, the version you watched, did you see anything there? I mean, all we saw in the one we watched on YouTube was him getting beat outside the door, but you don't. I mean, him on the ground. You assume he's being beat, or but that was it.
I don't remember if you saw
there
like
wasn't any
bat connecting skull or anything like that, but it was kind of like you see the person pounding him with the bat, but they don't. You don't see his eyes popping out of his head or anything like that. It's
no.
You see it happening over there. Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know if it was like you said, you saw that version was different than the broadcast version or not.
There was the other guy, the other guard, Dave. She finds him dead in the parking garage, but you don't see what happens there. They don't show that.
Yeah.
He just kind of falls out bleeding when she opens the door. Donnie, your favorite part, I'm sure, was Titus, the dog.
Always.
They don't
always.
At least they didn't show it. You just saw the dog take off and run out into the fog.
Listen. Like, they can never just leave the dog alone.
No.
Yeah, just
always got to kill the dog.
Yeah, just hearing him yelp, I was like, oh, come on.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Just out in the fog. Yipe! But at least you didn't see it, right? I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
Every year, Phil, at the end of the year, we do a what we call the. Oh no, that's the Chuki. I was thinking of the kill reel where we show like that because every episode I do a highlight kill. So I'll pick me personally. I'll pick like which one was the highlight kill of the movie. Another thing that we do is at the end of the year we have the Chuki, which is like an in memoriam of all the animals that we lost in the last year. So we've got an early candidate here with Titus the dog getting taken out in the fog.
Chuki also, we probably should say what Chuki comes from. Because it's
Chuki was the dog from that movie Blood Beat.
Speaking of VHS,
never seen it.
It's a treat.
Oh yeah, here I happen to have it now. The audience can't see this because this is audio only, but this is the cover of the VHS here. It's on Transworld.
I just happen to have the VHS right here.
Just happen to have it.
Blood Beat.
Blood Beat. Oh man.
I don't think it's got shooting on the back of it though.
It's entertaining, dude. Just don't have a high expectation of something great. Like, but it's something. It's something.
Yeah.
It's one of those no budget regional horror type movies.
But there was a dog in that movie called Chuki that doesn't die, And for some reason, we just decided to name the In Memoriam segment after Chucky because it's a stupid name. But yeah, so it's
Nice.
the Chucky. So Titus is an early candidate, Donnie, so mark it down. What happened? Now, exactly what happened in the movie, the groundskeeper Scott? Like, they just kind of string him up on the...
With a water hose?
Yeah, with a water hose on the swing, and then she runs away, and you never see... I guess you just assume he got choked out at the end, right? There's no need to follow up. Some of the deaths were kind of weak.
I thought it was going to be revealed that he was in on it somehow.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, like when the part when she hits the dude with the metal bat with the nails in it, and she pulls the mask back. I'm like, oh, it's going to be that guy. Nope, that was. Yeah, I was thinking too clever.
Also, that part. The guy was nobody, right? To her,
I don't think so.
When she pulled the mask off, but she almost act like it. I mean, the way she was. For a moment with her, like contemplating him or whatever. I mean.
Either she's had. I figured she's either having that moment of like, oh shit, I just killed a dude. Now I'm watching his light go out in front of me.
Yeah.
Or there's some kind of plot point that they cut out. Like, oh
maybe
shit,
so.
It's that guy that I saw earlier at the laundromat, and they just cut it out. Which
I did hear that this movie it went through a re-edit. Like after it was premiered, they were unsatisfied with some aspect of it. So
very well could have been that.
So yeah, that could have played a part in, like so it definitely that makes sense. Like with this kind of disjointed. I mean, it all makes linear sense, right? Like overall, it makes sense, but like there are moments like that where it feels like maybe there was something more to it that just didn't get fleshed out. So that might have been just cutting room floor type stuff. I hated one part. I mean, there was probably a few moments I didn't like too much about this, but I hated that cell network. When the people like she's on the phone, the people like start messaging Violet or whatever starts messaging her and calling her or whatever, sends her a video clip, and then she just cuts it off and says cell network jammed. That's cheap ass to me. She doesn't have the technology to jam the cell network.
Yeah. Anytime there's technology in a movie, it never ages well. Like Halloween Resurrection or some shit. Like, oh, webcams, right?
Yeah.
But like even by 2014 standards, I mean, iPhones were out, 2007?
I guess it sounds about right.
Yeah,
they've been out a while. Yeah. Right. But meanwhile, this movie that you don't ever see that. It's like flip phones and
exactly.
Slightly past that technology wise. But I didn't think these losers with the hoods would be running around with like cell network jamming capabilities. That's where I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Little flipper zeros.
Yeah. And then not long after that, when Justine, there's a lot of cat and mouse in this movie, but the part where she's on top of the building and then she just jumps off and doesn't get hurt. I mean, she kind of gets hurt, but she just gains a slight limp. Like, dude, that would have broke something. You fell through a tree onto the ground from at least, what would you say, 3 or 4 stories? She just kind of gets up. She just kind of gets up like, fuck, and then just keeps running. Like, I don't know. It's kind of cheap ass.
Oh, yeah, through the tree, right? Through all those branches and everything.
Yeah. And then just like, just brushes it off pretty quick and keeps running, but still, like, doesn't get any kind of head start or any distance because they're on her ass like 2 seconds later. So you're telling me they either jumped off that building and kept running after her, or they went all the way down the stairs or the elevator and then caught up to her in like 2 seconds. This is some what is it? What's that movie Smoke that we watched where Behind the Mask, Leslie Vernon.
Oh,
Behind the Mask, right?
Yeah, where the dude just keeps showing up and they kind of show you the behind the scenes.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to look like you catch up with somebody but look like you can't?
Yeah, he's using some of that Leslie Vernon magic here. They keep showing up really fast.
That's a great movie.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. Much better.
Very underrated.
Her boyfriend Aaron shows back up and then he's quickly dispatched. He's quickly. You think he would have put up a little better fight than that, but now that's about right. Like, it's like the dude in The Shining. He spends 35 minutes getting there. Finally, I'm here to save you. Ugh, you know.
Yeah, the axe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was that character.
But she smashes old tinfoil face with the Range Rover. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not ultra gory, but you know, when you hit somebody with a Range Rover and pin them up against a wall, that's pretty good.
It's like whenever you get those scenes, you're wondering, they weren't going for a bloodbath, obviously, but you think, like, did they re-edit it after the fact to make it so that it could be broadcast on television after, they found out Lifetime was going to do that? Or, I don't know, because it is surprisingly bloodless, almost bloodless, the kills. Yeah. You don't see any aftermath or anything of that. Now, like I said, I'm not saying that they were trying to make a splatter film here or anything,
but it's still surprising. But even what you see still surprised me for what my standard is in my head of a Lifetime movie. Now, like I haven't watched a lot of Lifetime stuff, but in my head, that's tame, right? And this was, tamer than Terrifier, but, probably more than what I expected, from going into it, is all I'm saying.
Well, that, not having known about the Lifetime thing, yes, I definitely would agree. Again, not having known about the Lifetime, I'm looking at it as, damn, these are weak kills.
Yeah.
But now it makes sense if that was the case after the fact. But whether they had to edit out that or whether it was originally that way anyhow, I don't know.
Then she drowns old Duct Tape Face in the pool. Like he swings a bat or they go down into the pool, and then I think she stabs him somewhere in the right with keys or something like that, right? So that's where you get the blood in the pool. Then she takes the bat up against his throat and just kind of chokes him out under the waters, but still pretty cool visual little kill, right?
Yeah, I thought that whole sequence was really well done. I gotta say, like, overall, aesthetically, I think this is like, the movie just looks good. Like, there's a lot of it almost became like mediocre shit. But whenever I thought that moment was coming, it would kind of subvert my expectations a little bit and do something clever, or go to a new setting. So it kept my attention the whole time.
And I think that there was that cat and mouse kind of chasing around thing. So you do get that thriller aspect of it. You're on the edge of your seat, right, to a degree. Like, you want to see how this ends for her and everything. So there is that to keep you interested. And overall, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not too long. So, those moments you do get of the violence toward the end where she's kind of getting revenge on everybody now, it does pay off pretty well. Just like the next kill where she burns, eventually she's face to face to Violet. Like, that's kind of the leader of the crew, right? And she burns her to death using pool chemicals. Like, she quickly mixes together some flammable pool chemicals, douses her with it, and then whoosh.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't expect that. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. That's pretty badass.
Yeah, and there was no, like, prolonged fight either, because you're like, all right, well, here we go. The climactic part where they're going to fight for 5 minutes, and then she'll almost stab her with something, and then she'll flip the script and stab her in the face or something at the end. But no, she's just like, fuck you. It's pool chemicals and lights her on fire. It ends pretty quickly.
Rip out her lip rings.
Yeah. None of that, no.
Was that stuff? Did they establish that? Was that the chemical from the beginning?
Yeah.
The movie that guy was demonstrating in the classroom, right? Oh
yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about
the explosives.
I think
nature
right.
of it, or whatever. Yeah.
I think you're right. I completely forgot about that.
I can't remember what it was right now. He said it in that scene where he was demonstrating it, but.
And then after that, she basically like, I'm Kristy now, and then the end, right? Like, I guess she becomes the angel of death. Vengeance on all these, because now she knows what's going on. It's like this weird dark web cult.
Yeah, the ring.
Yeah, where they're chasing girls or whatever. So now I guess her goal in life is to take this thing out. And there's some allusion to that in those quick edits of this survivor of the college massacre has all the details of of this underground cult or whatever. So now she's going after him. Did y'all notice? Did you stick around to the bitter end? There was a post-credit scene.
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh no, I did not. We did not.
Donnie, I'm sure you stuck around for that, right? That post-credit scene at the.
I didn't. No.
I'm sure as soon as you saw the credits, you're like, "Thank God!" And
I'm like, "Cool."
Like, oh, it's done.
No, there was a post-credit scene where there's a woman being attacked. Like in this style, like of there's the way it's gone the whole movie, right? She's about to be attacked, and then someone else comes, like from behind the tree or whatever. Someone else stops the attack from happening. It's another hooded figure. So I guess you kind of assume it's her, or
she's like taking revenge on all the dark web cultists.
Yeah, like this person is going after that person. I'm going to stop them, kind of thing. So I guess you never see a face, but that's kind of the way I felt. It's her.
Oh, I thought it was like two of these people attacking a lady, and then it cuts. I didn't even think like, oh, that's Kristy.
No, I think if you go back, I mean, not that you want to go back and watch this cutscene, but I think if you see it, like you see her being attacked by the first guy or girl, whoever, then the other one comes in, and I think that one's about to stop that person from doing it. So I kind of read it like she's Kristy now, and and she's going to take out all these people. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving. There you go, Kristy. This is kind of like that halfway decent dessert, Tiana, that you brought to the Thanksgiving spread. That's like, it's not the best, but it's edible. It's
It's like you brought cranberries instead of cranberry sauce.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cranberries will keep me regular. So,
do you think if this movie came out today or in the last 5 years or so and had proper distribution, had a theatrical release, do you think that this would have caught on and had an audience?
That's actually a really good good point. I was going to say, kind of in my my closing remarks, I think this might have worked, even if it didn't have, you talk about distribution. I thought it might have kind of worked a little better as a Into the Dark type series, maybe something along those lines. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I could have seen it having a couple of decent sequels. I don't know. I'm just surprised I had never heard of it. Like when you told me about this movie, I was like, Kristy, what the fuck is this? Yeah. And then I when I read the synopsis, I was like, oh no, this has generic written all over it. But I was pleasantly surprised overall. I mean, like you said, not a blow your hair back, holy shit kind of movie, but overall, I thought it was pretty damn solid.
So, Phil, what we do here is we'll give you a minute to give your final thoughts and then your star rating. So the star rating is 0 through 5.
Okay.
Comparing to other horror movies, whatever you want to compare it to. So with that in mind, what do you say? What are your final thoughts and your star rating?
So I did rate this on Letterboxd. Out of 5 stars, I surprisingly gave it 4. And yeah, I was a little surprised myself, but I was like, well, goddamn, I actually enjoyed that. I don't know why. It's nothing like completely original, but I thought it was well done. And yeah, as far as comparing it to something, I think, Donnie, you mentioned The Strangers earlier. I picked up on that as well. I like it more than The Strangers just because I don't really like that movie very much. I think it's a fucking snooze fest personally, but no disrespect to anybody that loves it, but
my uncle is The Strangers. How dare you?
But yeah, I guess The Strangers, and it does have that early 2000s sort of swim fan, cry wolf type of generic vibe to it, but done well, I think. So yeah, 4 stars.
All right, Tiana, you brought it to the Thanksgiving table, so we'll let you we'll let you clean up. What do you think here? What's your thoughts and star rating?
I mean, I think it's better than some other stuff that's been out lately. But yeah, if it had a lot more, what do I want to say? Like care to it, I feel like they just throw it together.
Yeah.
And ended up, having to chop it and this, that, and the other. So it ended up not being as great as it could have probably been. But I think for that time it came out, it did feel generic. But watching it again now and knowing that it was on Lifetime, it really surprised me. But I'm going to give it 3 stars.
All right, fair enough. Donnie, what do you say about it?
Yeah, I think it kind of lends a little more towards thriller than horror to me. You guys have already talked about the just kind of the weak kills for the most part. I'm at 2.5. Typically, it's got to be for me at least 3 stars before I would watch it again. This to me doesn't really have rewatchability because once the jig's up, there you go.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. I think I'm going to agree with you with 2.5. I think there's something there, but it doesn't have a lot of rewatchability. Not that everything has to be judged by I need to watch it 10 times, but I'm grading on the curve of look, this was better than I thought it would be. Kind of the same thing you guys said.
No doubt.
It was better than I thought it was going to be, but could have had a little bit, I don't know, maybe if it's a little bit more gory. Maybe, like you said, Phil, if it came out in the last 5 years and had been positioned in a different way, maybe you look. I don't know.
That's a good point.
But I think it's a solid one-time watch. I don't know if I'm watching this over and over for sure. Like I said, that doesn't have to be the be all end all, right? Whatever. But once you've seen it, you've seen it. Like you said, Donnie, the jig is up, right? You figured it out. Mystery solved, Scoob. Let's move it on. So. But
I could see myself throwing it on in a year from now, maybe just to kill some time.
It'll become your new Thanksgiving tradition, is what you're saying.
Hey, maybe.
Yeah, you never know. Look, you could do worse. It's called Home Sweet Home. You could do worse.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only one that might rate that better, just because of Mel.
I'll give you. I understand it, but no. Smoke.
Come on, it's got Jake in it from the bodybuilder dude.
Yeah,
body
by
Jake.
Jake. Yeah. God damn. All right, Smoke, you get the final word on this one. What's your rating and all that jazz?
I'm kind of echoing probably yours and Donnie's sentiments, Tiana's. It's I like. Phil mentioned this too. It looks really good. I like the cinematography and everything is good on this movie, and some of the scenes and whatnot.
Yeah,
that pool scene was awesome. It's also the only scene that really get a little bit of blood in, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, it's not too many words to say over it other than that. But I think I'll go with the 2.5 as well. Not one that I'll probably revisit too often, but it was interesting for what it was, and like I said, it looks good and it had some interesting concepts. Just not one that I'd probably revisit too much.
Well, there you go. Overall, we give it 2.6 out of 5 stars. Now, if you count in what Phil said about it, actually brings it up to a 2.9 out of 5 stars. But
I might have been a little too gracious. It may be more of a 3.5, but
hey,
I don't know. Maybe I was just feeling, I don't know, positive yesterday, and I was like, you know what, 4 stars.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
No, I mean,
stick with it.
Absolutely. Don't succumb to peer pressure.
No,
I just think,
definitely.
I just think it's one of those kind of movies. To me, it's like, it's not something I would probably go out of my way to watch again. And once you've kind of seen it, you've seen it, because there's nothing to really draw me back in to see it again. But it does pack more punch than I thought that it would. I mean, I had a very low expectation, low bar.
Honestly,
kind of like what you said.
When we talked about, doing this, I was like, oh, great. Yeah. Like I don't know. I immediately dismissed it. Because it didn't really sound exciting to me. I was like, all right.
What got me, honestly, what got me at first when I, without seeing anything, it's called Kristy. And then when I was like putting my notes together, there was no one in the cast called Kristy. Like, no, there was no character called Kristy. So I'm like, who the fuck is Kristy? What is Kristy? And then once you watch it, oh, okay, now it makes sense. But that was my first knock. I'm like, all right, this is going to be one of those weird kind of movies, isn't it? The name's not going to make sense, but it did.
Well, if they had called it Satanic, you said that was one of the titles.
That would have been better.
I don't know.
You would expect it to have been better. You would expect it I would have I might have liked it less because I've been like satanic. Well, I really expecting maybe some like a cult.
Now you're.
I mean, they were an occult group, but they,
Now I agree. My expectations would have been higher, probably.
Yeah,
but I don't think that would have been a better name for it.
Maybe probably why they went back to calling it Kristy again.
Yeah, well,
it's not really about that necessarily.
And it almost set up like there's going to be more of these. Kristy 2, Electric Boogaloo,
Yeah.
Kristy 3, The Secret of the Ooze. But they never, it never went that far. I don't think.
Yeah, I think for as well made as it is, it should have been had a way better reception than what it got.
Yes.
I mean, it basically just died a horrible death right off the jump. And I think there's just enough good things about it where it's like, man, somebody dropped the ball on this one.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Marketing.
I don't know what kind of second life it got because it did play on Netflix shortly after that Lifetime debut. So I don't know if it got any play on Netflix or anything. I didn't see numbers or anything, but you would think if anything's going to get that kind of underground cult type of following these days, it's something that goes on Netflix, right? That's because people like, fuck, I'm not going to go see that in the theater, but on Netflix, at 9:00 on a Saturday night, then here we go,
Yeah. Also 2014, I'm sure you guys know, like the landscape was just way different for horror. Like horror's booming now, but 2008 to 2014 was like fucking dead for the most part. And Scream 4 flopped in 2011, just to put it into perspective.
Yeah.
So and It Follows and some other movies kind of kicked it off in 2014. I think that's when the ball started rolling to where we are today. Which coincidentally also ends in a bloody pool scene. It Follows in 2014.
Good call.
That scene, the pool scene, is still better than the entirety of what was that haunted pool movie that came out this year?
Oh, nice one.
Oh,
God damn it!
Nice
that one scene is better than that entire movie about a haunted pool.
I can't believe I watched that, dude. I watched Imaginary earlier today, and I got like halfway through the Craft remake. I'm on a shitty Blumhouse kick. I don't know why. I'm just like torturing myself today. I'm like, let me catch up on all the shitty Blumhouse movies. But
God,
yeah, fucking awful.
Yeah,
Kristy is way better than those pieces of shit.
Whenever that Kristy gets released on 4K, that's the quote that we're going to put on the back of it. Phil from the Spook House Podcast says, "God damn, that was better than I thought it would be."
Yeah, I'd be honored.
Yeah, and it's just a picture of you just with your thumbs up like, huh? All right, before we check out and let you know what's coming, we got to do our own little bits here. So, Donnie, we'll start with you.
Connections.
There we go, laughing to it.
Run out.
So explain to him what connections from the crypt are there.
Yeah, so with Crypt Connections, basically we connect the current movie episode by any cast or crew connections to past Spook Show episodes. So for Kristy on the cast side, we've got James Ranson. Tiana actually kind of spilled the beans earlier, but she said it was yeah, he played Scott. I think he's a groundskeeper here. But he was in It Chapter 2, and he was also in, you guys didn't call this out, he was in The Black Phone.
Yeah,
he was the dopey brother
that did the cocaine.
Yeah. The coke fiend brother,
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there's also, that's it for the cast side. And on the crew side, we've got Scott Derrickson, who was producer on this, and he directed Josh's favorite movie, Hellraiser Inferno, and was also the director of The Black Phone.
Boy, that's like outhouse to penthouse. Right,
which one's Inferno again? I get all the old Hellraiser.
Nobody knows.
I think it's 3.
No,
I think it's 3. No, it's 5.
No.
It's 5.
No, it's in that. It's in that black hole region of Hellraiser where they're all CSI episodes.
We just recently, not too long ago, have done some of those, and we still can't keep them straight ourselves. Beyond 3,
like, I could have watched that last week and be like, I don't fucking remember it.
Yeah.
Phil,
Pinhead ripped somebody apart. There you go.
We tried. We started the Hellraiser franchise in 2021 because we used to do a franchise every year. Well, we started the Hellraiser franchise in 2021. Got tired of it. Got tired of doing it, and then we've almost completed the Evil Dead franchise in between because we like, fuck this. Let's do something else.
We keep almost like subconsciously refusing to go back to the Hellraiser well, and we still have 3 or 4 of those movies to go.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the connection. So thank you for that. So Tiana. All right, so what kind of kill count number did you come up with for this one?
Surprisingly, when you first start watching this, you don't think it's going to be that many, but it ended up being 8.
Yeah, that sounds about right. They start stacking
even though
up.
it's off screen, 1 dog, unfortunately.
Well, that doesn't count toward the count, but yeah, it does.
No.
It is,
Hey,
it is
also,
unfortunate
because we didn't stick around for the end credits, so I don't know. I don't know if you would say somebody got killed in there or not. You don't see it, right?
Yeah, no, you don't. You
She's
assume.
the one supposedly saving.
Yeah. You assume probably something goes down there, but I don't know. So
You don't know what. So.
yeah. All right, that leads us to let's talk about the kill reel.
Highlight 2.
All right, so I think there's a couple of decent ones here, but I think the one that has the highest impact is the metal bat with nails in it to the back of that dude's head. And that could have been way gorier, right? Like, dude, you just stuck a metal bat with nails in it into a dude's skull, and like he just kind of, and then just kind of leans back and stares at her. So like, it could have been better, but I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought she should have at least ripped it out so you get like gnarly sound effect.
Yeah, this is more visceral.
I guess the ruggedness of that one is the fact that it happens, and then she just watches, like she pulls the dude's mask up and then just stares into his eyes as he slowly fades away. You know, so that's the rugged, I guess, kind of part to it. But I think
kind of reminiscent of Art in Terrifier 3 after the shower kill. No, nothing like
that. No. But we end up with that though. Smug, it naturally leads to you.
Gore score.
So tell them what the gore score is. I guess we should do that.
Yeah, for anybody listening to this who hasn't heard it, and for Phil's ears here, that's the gore score is basically is in honor of Chaz Balin. He did the gore score, horror columnist in the 80s, and 90s, and all the way up till his death in the mid 2000s. But he did the gore score in a book called Gore Score, Deep Red Horror Handbook, also the Deep Red fanzine magazine. So that's gore score is in honor of Chaz. And if there's an older movie that Chaz, we go to that and kind of see if mine's basically the same as his. Maybe I'll alter mine a little bit or whatever. But of course, this being 2014, there's not a gore score from Chaz on this one. So, and we've been talking about this through the entire episode. This movie is not about gore. It's not trying to. I mean, obviously, you have somebody hit in the head with a spiked bat, and they didn't show any. So that's not what they're going for in this movie at all. Whether that be for reasons of them having to, make it for broadcast, or maybe they had to edit something out. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they just made it this way, and that's just the final cut was just not gory at all. But there was the blood in the pool scene that we'd mentioned. Some random, people get stabbed, but they stabbed in the stomach, or like the security guard getting hit, but it's kind of off screen, or at least off camera, right? So they're just not going for gore in this movie at all. So gore score obviously is going to be pretty low for it. I guess I'll give it a 3. I mean, there's the pool, and there's just, it's visceral, not really visceral. It's violent, but not gory. Let's put it that way, right?
So kind of what we've
all the
said,
deaths are
so kind of like along with what we've said, like there's gore there, but it's not like Terrifier type. It's not blood spilling, oozing out everywhere. So, and that's on a 0 through 10 scale too. So 3, that's probably about right.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's made for TV. Well, whatever the case, it ended up airing on Lifetime, and that maybe does part of the reason, but you wouldn't expect it to have above a 5, above 3, even probably for Lifetime on a gore score.
I would like to see an unrated cut of this.
Yeah, that would probably have made my score go, my rating, made the score go up, and it probably made my rating go up a little bit because we said it before. It doesn't have to be a splatter fest, but whenever you add something like that to something that maybe doesn't have the greatest script in the world, it just adds a little bit something extra to the movie that makes the replayability. It ups that a little bit too.
Yeah, I would give you that. Like I gave it 2.5. I'm probably going 3.5.
Yeah, if it's some good kills, some stuff.
Yeah. If the kills had just been a little bit more, a little bit more punch than they gave, I think it would have. But yeah, I think it's a solid flick. We're checking out at least once. I think that's the consensus.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it there for now. So that's the way we're going to celebrate Thanksgiving. And Phil, we appreciate you coming on, dude. It was a lot of fun.
Of course, yeah, this was a blast. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and one more time for everybody, where can they find you and your work?
Instagram, YouTube, available wherever you listen to podcasts.
So look for the Spook House Podcast, not to be affiliated with the All American Spook Show podcast. But if you want to, hey, cool with us. You're in the family now. You're in the family now. So you've been
glad to be here.
You've been here for Thanksgiving. You've already seen the house, so welcome back anytime, man. So yeah, there we go. Next week we're going to be doing our next Spook Show Spotlight episode. As of the recording of this, we have not quite decided what the topic of that will be, but for the benefit of Phil and the listeners out there, the Spook Show Spotlight is usually where we'll pick a topic or say a actor or a director or something like that, and we'll just kind of talk about that person or that topic or whatever. So I would imagine since now we're headlong into the Christmas horror season after today, it will probably have something to do with Christmas horror, but we'll figure it out. We'll sort it out, and you'll find out when everyone else does next week when the episode comes out. So that's it. So for Will, couldn't be with us, Donnie, Tiana, the Professor Smoke, and Phil from the Spook House Podcast, I'm Josh. We are the All American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.